Live from the basement car park at Area 51 and broadcast worldwide in association with leading radio stations via the internet. It's the Elegant Universe. Your hosts, abducted from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Peter Gagliardi and Shane Hill. Welcome back. It's the only radio show based on a movie, based on a t-shirt, based on a nightmare we had many years ago with Susie J. Haley, your host, Peter, formerly the mysterious Peter X, myself, and today a very special guest, one of Melbourne's top comedy writers and stand-up comedians, Stef Jaric's on the show. We're looking forward to that.
Yes, welcome to the show. As Shane said, if you've got any comments, questions, queries, suggestions, anything like that, go to the Elegant Universe Facebook page and tell us what's going on in your world. Like Shane said, if you've got a Yeti in your backyard, we want to know about it.
If a UFO's hovering over your back door.
So brace yourself, people. We have a very, very big show today.
Frankie Hampson's back with a conspiracy theory.
And this one is a doozy, so stay tuned for that.
Also, Haley Scopes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be back after this.
Welcome back to the only show where things that go bump in the night actually get invited into the studio, and then we poke them with a big stick and find out what's really going on.
Guess what, guys?
What's that?
This week I've been playing this game. A new game.
Yeah,
new
this
game.
week?
And I play games every week, but let's not get into my life at all. And this game, what it's about is you are a virus.
What?
Okay.
And you get to custom make your virus. You could start off as a bacteria or a viral or a fungal infection or whatever, right?
Right.
And you infect the first person, right?
Yeah.
And your whole thing as a virus is to outdo the whole human race and kill everyone. That's the whole idea of the game.
That sounds fun.
And
biological warfare.
pretty much.
Is now a game,
and you've got the whole map of the world, right?
Yep.
And you start off with one person.
Right.
And you spread from one person to the next person to the next person. And what you try and do is outbeat all the quarantine strategies and everything that humans put in place to try and stop you.
And this marvel of modern technology is called?
It's called Quarantine Inc.
Quarantine.
Okay.
Inc.
And it's a great game because you as they're trying to cure it, because you've got a time span where the humans become aware that you exist as a virus.
Yeah.
And then what they've got to do is they try and figure out a cure.
Yep.
And it goes from 1% to 100%. And the minute they find a cure, you start getting eradicated from all sides because they've cured you, right?
Yep.
So your whole thing as a virus is you've got to try and evolve around cures and quarantine zones, and then you've got to try and get into rats. So you get under things or get into insects and all this. It's a really simple game, right? But, it's so entertaining.
And you'd win the game and you'd be like, yes, but I've killed
no
everybody.
And you can call yourself whatever you want. So I called one of my viruses Love. And I infected
no.
which is great because it was actually the first time I won the game because I lost a bunch of times because humans are just too good at getting around viruses, believe it or not.
They just couldn't get past love.
Too.
But you can also tailor your...
I've been vaccinated against love years ago. So
Okay.
I always knew it was a virus.
But you can also tailor your symptoms.
Yep.
And how quick you spread and everything like that, and it's just a cool game.
Can I just say,
Go on.
You are scarily, way too excited about this. And if the audience could see your face and how much it has lit up.
I do enjoy games like that.
I'm worried that this game's going to get into the wrong hands and somebody's going to make a virus and be like, I know how to take over the world.
Yeah, but there's no way there would just be so much to actually do it in real life.
Hang on. Does the Ebola virus have anything to do with you?
Me, I wasn't there. I don't even know what you're talking about. Push the plane tickets aside. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I think we've got news.
Yes, and I have another medical story if we're talking about bacteria
What a
and so on.
coincidence.
I have a story about a little goldfish named George who recently had brain surgery.
Yes, I heard about this. This is incredible.
I'm watching this on the news and I'm going, they've run out of stories.
What?
But let's hear them.
They're giving a fish brain surgery.
Yeah. Well, coming from the poor goldfish who are always told, you don't have a worthy brain, your memory only lasts 3 seconds.
You're a loser. You're a loser. You'll always be a loser.
Yeah. A Melbourne man
Yeah.
just paid for his goldfish
gosh.
George to
Yeah.
have a brain tumor removed.
Really?
It cost
Yes.
about 1,500, didn't it? Did you see?
Something like
That's
that.
a pretty
It
cheap
was
brain surgery operation,
Yeah,
actually.
but it was
Yeah, so
a
compared to
6-inch fish.
Yeah.
Goldfish.
a $10 goldfish. You could
Yeah.
just buy a new one. But apparently, poor George the goldfish
yeah.
was unable to swim properly or eat
Oh,
properly.
poor
He had a
George.
seriously poor quality of life because of this brain tumor. And George is 10 years old.
Yeah.
So the owner has had a bit of an attachment to
Wow.
him.
Yeah.
And so the vet, Dr. Tristan Rich, had
Yeah.
to perform a 45-minute operation
No, he
on the
didn't
little
have
goldfish.
to.
He chose
He
to.
was paid to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
paid to.
And the fish was even put under anesthetic and a process using like 3 different buckets.
How do you put the little mask on it?
I
Yeah.
know.
They used these 3 different buckets of water, which they somehow had the anesthetic in, and so they'd progress him from one bucket to another of like
I just
stronger
think
anesthetic.
it's amazing. I think it's ridiculous, but I think it's amazing.
What a
Imagine,
waste of
like-
medical science, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
You need like
Yeah.
a magnifying glass to be able to see what you're doing on
Yeah.
a little fish brain.
It's just crazy.
It's
Wouldn't the
ridiculous.
doctor take it as a challenge? He'd be like, you know what? I got
Totally.
this.
Yeah.
No, he
Yeah.
took it as a pay week. A
Yeah,
good
yeah.
pay week is what he took that as.
It'd be a real shame if they went through with the surgery and the fish didn't survive.
Yeah.
Because then you have paid your $1,500 or whatever, and
And
still
you
have
still
to
got a
still have to
yeah.
shark out another $10 for your goldfish.
Yeah.
Oh,
He must
wow.
have been sweating it, actually.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
vet,
true.
the vet, for sure.
Yeah, high pressure.
So, yeah,
And
I can.
how did they even know that it had a brain tumour?
I'm pretty sure it was
That-
like
Because
visual.
it just
visible.
kept going around in circles.
Yeah, but...
It looked like the Elephant Man. That's what gave it away.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Have
an
you seen
animal.
those goldfish that look like that anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
And they've got all the bumps on them.
And the huge
people
eyes.
Pay, they're a type of carp, and people pay thousands of dollars for them.
Yeah.
And it turns out they've all got brain tumours.
It just makes me think of the 3-eyed fish from The Simpsons because it
Yes.
lives near the nuclear power plant.
Yes.
Oh, did you see they caught a cyclops fish the other day?
Oh,
No?
Did you
I
see
saw
that?
something about the octopus thing from the Antarctic.
No, it was a fish, but it has one eye, right? And extremists have jumped on this and said it's in the Quran that the one-eyed fish would be caught and it's the end of days. I'm not joking.
Like the red
Oh, no.
cow.
Yeah, like the red
Yeah.
cow, but it's like, oh, the cyclops fish. Ooh, what?
Where did they
Yeah.
catch it? Where was this?
I can't remember where it is. You just sprung it on me. Obviously, I don't have
Yeah.
it with
We'll
me.
check that later for you,
But
listener.
no, seriously, let's
Yeah.
have a
Have
look
a
at it.
Haley scope and
Yep.
into a break.
Okay, so Aquarius. This week, you will get caught throwing an apple core in your neighbour's rubbish bin. They will make you take it out again. Unfortunately, it had already sunk past their collection of dirty nappies and wipes.
Ugh.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Elegant Universe, inventor of the alien abduction-proof pajamas. Get yours from our website. Where's our Facebook page, Pete?
The Elegant Universe. Just go to Facebook, type that in.
Yeah.
No,
It's that simple.
yeah, it's pretty
It's that
easy.
simple.
Pretty
Right.
easy.
Coming up after the next break, special guest Stef Jaric's on the show, comedy writer, stand-up comedian, and one of the biggest names in comedy in Melbourne at the moment.
Oh,
doing
yeah.
really, really well. So I saw him perform and I thought, got to have this guy on the show. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
So fortunately, he condescended to come on the show today. Yeah. We didn't have to beat him up or anything.
So, Mysterious Girl X, you've got news. What have you got for us?
I have another horoscope if you're interested. So,
Go on.
Pisces. This week, you will invite all of your friends to your pole dancing concert where they will witness you knock yourself unconscious with your own breasts.
That's so funny.
Speaking of news.
Speaking of news, I've got the top 10 worst TV characters for kids.
Oh, this will be good.
no.
This will
Yeah.
be good.
Go
So-
on.
There are no bad TV characters for kids.
And so, Peter, I don't know if your kids watch half of these, but
Yeah.
we'll see. And these are in no particular order. I
All
actually
right.
don't even know half of them, but one of them caught my eye, and that's why I was interested.
Yeah.
Norman Price, Fireman Sam from Pontypandy. Do you know that?
What? Say again?
Norman Price. So that's his name. That's his character's name. And he's
Right.
a fireman
From what
Fine.
show?
from Pontypandy.
I've never seen that
Ponty
show.
No.
Pandy.
Never
No.
heard of it. So
Not off the top.
apparently,
Okay, yeah, I can see how
apparently
that
he's,
would be bad.
Dennis
Yeah.
the Menace is a saint compared to this dude.
Right.
So they're
Ah.
saying that he's a really bad, role model for
Right.
kids to
Yeah.
be watching.
Okay.
Horrid Henry. Don't
Yeah.
get your kids to watch that. That's all about how to get away with doing bad stuff.
Yeah?
Right.
Yeah, the whole
Ah.
cartoon is
Right.
like literally about hey, kids, your parents aren't in the room. Get the lighter and light your hand on fire. Seriously.
Really?
Man.
Yeah, it's full on. And you're sitting there and you go, what?
That's bad.
Whoever invented that show probably wasn't able to have children. So
Yeah,
they were like,
so they want
"Get my
everyone else to
revenge."
suffer.
Princess from Little Princess.
Princess.
Little Princess.
Little Princess, yeah, Little Princess. I've heard of
Is
that.
that like
Isn't
the
it-
book?
That's a doll or
Probably.
something, isn't it? No, that's Little Pony. Yeah.
That's
No.
Which
No.
should be on the
Completely
list.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently she's rude, demanding, and selfish.
Yeah.
So that's teaching.
There's actually
She's
a
a
lot of
princess.
girl
Yeah.
characters. Do you remember what was Angelica or something?
From
And
the
Angela-
Rugrats?
Rugrats.
Yeah,
That was
she was
great.
bad.
Wallop. She's going to grow up to be.
And there was on another show, there was some nincompoop girl or something who had like the French accent and the beret and was blonde. It was like a real stereotype.
Oh, Angela Anaconda.
Yeah, there was that girl on.
I can't remember her
It
name.
was like the arch nemesis, basically.
Yeah, Nouette Noir or something like
Yeah,
that. Something like that.
that.
Yeah.
And she's just as spoilt rotten.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we wonder why kids are growing up like this. Now this one's surprising. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Because apparently...
What's wrong with that?
Well, apparently Mickey's a walkover and isn't really teaching kids how to stand up for himself.
No, he's all right. He's got the
He's hardly on
4
it.
magic clues, and he's got it going on. He's got his own house, and
Yeah,
you can't
save
can't
money.
fault
Good
him.
job with Disney.
Yeah.
I think whoever's faulting Mickey Mouse is a bit like PC. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bit much.
Well, they're
Yeah.
just saying he just needs to look inside of himself and say, you know what, Donald Duck, shouldn't get away with this and what have you.
Yeah, but it's Donald Duck. He's
Yeah, he
moody
doesn't
as
wear
like
pants.
he's.
But comes out of the shower with a towel
Towel.
on.
Yeah, why
it's
does he
weird.
even bother?
Yeah, weird.
Jimmy Giggle from Giggle and Hoot.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that one?
Yeah,
No.
Giggle and Hoot.
What's
It's
wrong
like-
with him?
It's a guy and an owl, but
Yeah, but what's wrong with?
Well, the
Yeah.
critic is just jealous because his wife finds Jimmy attractive, so that's why. This
Blues Clues.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
hot was that guy?
You know that guy. You know the rumor about how that guy.
Suicided.
Yeah, he didn't.
No, it's not true.
Yeah.
He didn't, right? And he was going out with a supermodel,
Yeah,
and he
As you
dumped her,
yeah.
right? Because they were
know who I
going.
am?
They were going to
I
go.
am
No,
Blues
no.
Clues.
Get
Yeah.
this. He was walking down the road with her, and like she's obviously demanding and everything,
Yeah.
and he dumped her to go show up to a Blues Clues kids party on the spot.
Really?
Didn't even. Yeah, he just said to her, "Look, I've got bigger people around me than you," and went off and did this kids party for free.
Wow.
How
Really?
cool is that?
I've never heard of him.
He's
You
it's
haven't?
a
Okay.
yeah.
No.
But if you
Sad.
know
That
what
is
I'm
cool.
talking about, that's
Yeah.
a pretty
You
nice
need-
thing to do.
Google
Yeah.
it, and for
Yeah.
anybody else who's listening who doesn't know what Blues Clues is,
Yeah, Google it.
Google
It's
it.
really
Is he Aussie?
bizarre.
Is he Aussie?
yeah.
No,
No,
he's
no, it's an
American.
American
Okay.
show.
Yeah, yeah.
Peppa Pig.
Oh, I
yeah,
hated
we all
her.
know Peppa Pig.
Really?
What's wrong with her?
Well, apparently she's got an attitude problem,
Well,
rude
she's a
and
pig.
obnoxious to friends and family.
Yeah, she is a pig, so
Yeah,
you
so,
gotta
yeah.
give some leeway.
Self-explanatory.
I remember when that show came out when I was a kid watching TV, and I hated
Has it
it.
been
I
around
can't
that
remember
long?
why.
Yeah, I thought it was only new as well. I've only
It's
I,
like,
I
remember,
remember
what's the
I was
other
a
one?
bit too old for it, I think.
Baba the elephant.
Oh, that
It's
was
all
great.
Moral stories hidden in like elephants.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
got lives
He
and
is so
shit. You know.
cute.
Well,
And the
description-
rhinos are always the bad guys.
Yeah,
like, yeah, go
The
on.
description of Peppa Pig just reminds me of last year's winner of Big Brother. So
Oh,
that guy with the curly
Tim?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
We get it. we get
Now this one, Thomas the Tank.
what's wrong with
Angel.
him?
Well, apparently he's nasty, cheeky, and has poor work ethic.
it. That is
Ah.
true.
He is pretty
Yeah,
lazy.
yeah,
Yeah, for
it's true.
for a train,
For a
you
train.
think pull
He
your
doesn't
own
work.
weight,
Yeah.
pun
And
intended.
he's always getting other trains to do the job for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So isn't that just like good thinking?
Yeah.
Good management.
yeah, a bit
Yeah.
shifty, but
Yeah,
Bit shifty.
and the
Yeah,
fat
it's not
controller.
Like he's a foreman train or anything. He's just a train.
You know, I think they changed the fat controller
Yeah.
Yes.
to another name because it's not PC to call him the fat controller, but that's his name.
I know, I think it's just the controller or something
Yeah.
now.
Eric.
But he's the fat controller. That's his actual
Yeah.
name.
When I was a kid, I thought that was one word, like he was
Tripped
the
over
fat
and
controller.
couldn't get-
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, go on.
Next
I'll
one.
do one more. So there's the Roadrunner.
No.
Ah.
What's
no.
wrong with
Me- me-
Roadrunner?
Yeah.
Roadrunner is. I feel sorry for the coyote.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
he's got it going on. And another urban legend is there's a cartoon where he catches it.
Apparently, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there isn't. It's an urban legend.
And you've always heard the whole thing about the amount of money Wile E. Coyote spends trying to trap him.
Yeah,
He could have bought a 20-course meal.
yeah.
Like, why are you spending all your
He
money on
keeps-
all this rubbish?
He keeps Acme.
I
in
reckon it's
business.
store credit. He buys it, it comes with a warranty, and he takes it back, and he just keeps getting
this
the next
giant
thing.
elastic band didn't work.
Yeah.
I got flattened by a rock. Let's go to a Haley scope.
Okay, so Aries. This week, you will buy 10 flower pots in celebration of spring. They will all be dead by next week. You suck.
Don't forget, after the break, Stef Jaric's on the show, top comedy, comedian, writer, type dude from Melbourne. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the only show that goes behind the internet into those dark, murky places that fear itself fears to tread. Guess what?
What?
As you know, I do a few gigs around town.
Yes.
You do.
Actually, quite popular.
Yes.
Almost what you'd call famous. But we have in the studio a guy who's even more famous than that, a guy who goes around town doing all kinds of gigs. It turns out that also, as I did my research, he's a comedy writer as well. Would you please welcome to the studio, Stef Jaric.
Yay!
Thanks for coming on the show, Stef. Great to have you
welcome,
here.
Welcome.
Yep, great to be here.
I'm going to kick it off. I'm just going to ask you where you grew up.
Grew up in Frankston.
Oh, Frankston, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not from Melbourne, so I know that that's a bit far out. Is that like considered sort of westy
another
or
planet.
something?
Yeah,
No,
it's the punchline of Melbourne, I found.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I could see where he got his comedy from.
Yeah.
Just
It's
living in that
very easy
area.
down there.
Just life stories.
Grew up in the same house,
No, I moved around a bit.
just around Frankston?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you travelled much with your comedy?
Actually, I have a bit. My work has sort of sent me overseas a little bit, so I've actually done comedy over in Thailand and in Sweden.
Thailand, how did that go?
Went okay, actually. There's a lot to poke fun at it in Thailand.
Yeah, so we've heard.
There's a lot to
Recently,
poke in Thailand as well.
killings, beheadings.
Yes. But so in Thailand, so you're going to places that have Thai people speaking English, or you've got places, you know how in other,
Mostly
there's
expats,
like,
yeah.
expats.
Yeah, mostly expats.
Okay, excellent. Thailand's a good place to go then?
Definitely, for comedy and for tourism, yeah. So
Excellent. And
Just don't
so
fall
these,
asleep
I'm
on
just
a
going to
beach.
ask you some questions to sort of get to know you a bit before we get to know about your comedy and what you're up to. Funniest male?
I'd have to say Ron White. He's an American comic. I just like his style. He gets on stage with a whiskey and a smoke, and he just talks. It's fantastic.
Funniest female?
I'd have to say be the dear departed Joan Rivers. That politically incorrect humour it always wins.
Yep.
Did you hear, Steph, that the guy who, like, when she died, he took a selfie with the body?
No.
Did you hear that?
Wasn't it the...
No, for real.
Wasn't it before the
I
operation?
don't. Well, tomato. You know what I mean? Like, who does
Who was
that?
this? Rob
I
Williams?
think that fella kicked off kicked off something weird because
Yeah.
today in the paper I saw a grave digger in I think it's Mexico or somewhere.
Yeah,
They moving a body and they took a selfie with the body.
Oh, no.
23 years in the ground. So I
Bloody
think
Mexicans.
You know, 1,000 years from now, civilization will be digging up the remnants of us, and
Yeah.
they'll find selfies with dead bodies and think,
Right.
God, Jesus,
What a-
that's
check out this
weird."
fossil.
Yeah.
But look at what people are taking, like, selfies with heads, like, these days. Just,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just
What?
out of control, out of
It's
control.
crazy.
So
Really
there should
bad.
be a line in terms of selfies with the
I-
deceased. You reckon?
I think
Only by
so.
natural causes. Right,
Only
yeah.
by
Yeah.
natural
Or
causes.
not dead people.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause if you're dead, don't take a selfie of yourself.
Why would you
Well,
want to take a photo with a dead
Yeah,
person?
you'd think that would be pretty straightforward.
Maybe they got no friends.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe they killed them.
Oh, right.
Maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
serial
know.
killer taking trophy photos.
But selfies? Oh,
Yeah.
no, we're going to start a trend.
No one's
Somebody's
going to
gonna
believe
go,
this. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather watch something on screen, read something, or listen to something?
Listen to something, I'd say.
Listen
Yeah.
to something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a time in your life you'd do over again?
I'd probably want to have gone backpacking when I was a teenager.
For
I
my
didn't do
first
that.
gig.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. First gig. Oh no,
Yeah.
definitely want to relive that too. If I could.
Got to start somewhere.
First gig was supposed to go for 6 minutes. Went for 2.5. I was just on speed.
Yeah.
Where was your first gig?
I was actually in Sydney at an Irish pub that probably no longer exists anymore because I think that site got redeveloped into the casino.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go on for about 6 minutes, and I actually drank a quarter of a bottle of Jack before I got on stage to try and calm my nerves, but they were still jumping up so high that I just powered through the material, got off stage and drove home straight. And it wasn't until I got home that I realised I was actually over, because that's when all the nerves sort of went away and it hit me.
Yeah.
So,
how old were you? First show?
Yeah, 25.
Okay.
Yeah, so
right. What made you get into that then?
I was annoying too many of my colleagues at work because I'd
you should be on stage. There's one
Exactly.
leaving in the morning. Be
That's
on
right,
it. Yeah.
It's not here at your desk annoying us. That's right. So
Because is it right that you actually did a Bachelor of Engineering at Swinburne?
that's right. Yeah.
Yep, from 96 to 2000. So were you in engineering
Yeah.
and then made the transition?
Well, I'm still in engineering
Okay.
because the transition is a slow one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like, don't quit your day job.
Yeah,
That's right. So it's in parallel at the moment.
Yeah.
So let's put it that way. So I'm still pursuing the engineering, but comedy is definitely something I want to keep at.
Absolutely. Excellent. So I think we'll take a break.
We
Okay,
shall.
let's
We'll
do
be
that
back
one.
after this with more of Stef Jaric.
We'll be back.
Welcome back live on 94.1 FM and worldwide on the internet on the 3WBC network. It's The Elegant Universe.
And I'm talking to Stef Jaric, comedian, writer, and engineer. Welcome
All-round
back.
good guy.
Absolutely. So I did see that you are a writer, and for a magazine, YAWP, what does that stand for?
I'm actually not sure what it stands for.
Yorp.
I believe it's a
Yorp.
slang term for something comedy related.
Okay.
So it's an online comedy magazine
Yep.
that's published out of Melbourne, and I do some freelance writing for them on and off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. How'd
What
you get
sort
into
of
that?
stuff do you write about, Steph?
Basically, whatever's whatever they've got a theme each month.
Right.
So, and the most recent one was the Melbourne Fringe Festival.
All right.
So I wrote an overview for that. In the past, they've had focuses on political comedy, so I've written about
get
that.
it.
And
I
so
get
on
it.
and so
I
on.
see what he's done there.
Yeah,
He
I
goes like
see
this.
that.
Every other comedian's
Yeah,
rubbish,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this Steph guy, he's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, writes himself up,
Yeah,
great
yeah.
reviews and stuff. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Go and see this guy. He's
Yeah,
like-
this guy's
and-
fantastic. Everyone
Well,
else.
for the record, I don't have a show on the Fringe Festival, but if I did, I've missed out, haven't I?
But speaking of shows, so you've also written your own shows for Melbourne Comedy Festival.
That's right, yeah.
There was, tell me about Kenny, the Kenny show.
Oh, I see.
I see the resemblance.
Yeah, I've got an uncanny resemblance to Kenny of the movie fame, and I spent most of 2007 running away from drunks who would suddenly. The more someone drinks, the more the resemblance appears
they
to
I
them.
think
have, I
you're
have that
Kenny.
at the pub with women.
That's right.
The more I drink, the better they look.
Right, yeah, well, that's, yeah. So I had reverse beer goggle syndrome going
Right,
on, because,
okay.
of course, they would think I'd look more like Kenny the more they had.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll try and turn this into something. So I actually did a show at the 2008 Comedy Festival called I Can't Believe It's Not Kenny.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And,
yeah.
You could work. You could be stunt double easily. You
I
could-
offered to. He didn't get back to me. I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah.
So it was a good experience.
I'm
The
a
producers
professional,
did
I'll
send
do
the
my
lawyers
own
along.
stunts.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so tell me what you've got coming up.
At the moment, I've just doing some more open mics around Melbourne, building up the repertoire, trying to prepare for a comedy festival at Station 59, which is an excellent comedy venue on Church Street in Richmond.
Okay.
And they've got a festival happening in February next year, between the 3rd and the 15th of February. So I'm yet to get my allocation for the when the show will be on. But so yeah, next week I'll coincidentally be on Station 59 on Wednesday night.
Yep.
So
Steph, question: Where, as a comedy writer, where do you get your ideas from? Is it just looking at life, or do you actually sit down and go through a process of writing? When you're writing your material for stage, where do you get the what inspires you?
Tends to be things I see and do. So a lot of growing up in Frankston provided me a lot of stories.
Right, it would. Yeah, lots of material there.
Heaps
yeah.
of material there.
The night I got arrested.
That's right. So wearing a witch's hat, riding an elephant.
Yeah.
So most of the time at the moment, I ride a motorbike these days, and there's not much else to do on a motorbike but think of ideas
Jokes.
and things and jokes. And unfortunately, they come into my head whilst I'm on the motorbike, and I can't write them down anywhere. So I just have to try and keep them in there until I get home or
Right.
somewhere to write it all down.
So you're the guy on the talking to yourself at the lights on the motorbike.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, who looks like Kenny. So
Yeah,
it's
you could blame him. You go, Shane, what's his name?
Yeah.
It's not me, it's him. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. They probably do think Shane Jacobson now rides up and down the Pean Highway over morning and afternoon time.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Worst-
Talking to himself.
Yeah.
So he's finally gone off the deep end.
Worst gig.
Worst
gig you ever had?
Was actually at a backpackers in Melbourne.
Yeah, I know the place.
Yes.
Yeah, we know the place.
I don't blame you.
No, what's not the one you're thinking of? It's a few years back. It's the one on Spencer Street.
Yeah, we know the place.
That one,
yeah.
That's right. And I'd never done it before and hadn't done it since. It was a fun gig, but why it was the worst one was because, first of all, the stage was a converted billiard table. And I'm surprised people weren't actually still playing on it whilst I was up there.
Yeah.
And then I was about a minute into my set when a fight broke out. So it just went downhill from there. Everyone was watching the fight. No one was watching me.
Yeah.
And what about your best gig?
The best gig would have had to have been I think would have been second or third last show I did for the comedy festival with the I Can't Believe It's Not Kenny show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had a Bucks night turn up.
All right.
So it was obviously a disappointment for the buck because I wasn't a stripper. And the show was going so well and the audience was so into it that it actually went overtime a bit and I ran out of beer on stage and the buck actually came up and refilled my beer for me.
So hang on, you drink during your act?
Yeah.
Yeah? I wish I'd thought of that.
Comedy's one of the only professions where you can get away with that. Imagine being a brain surgeon. Oh, just pass me a beer. Yeah.
Take a selfie of this.
It's a Croatian background, you know. You just drink with everything. It doesn't matter. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay. So. Yeah, cool.
Excellent. And so I'm just going to ask you if the world of I'm an ex-dancer, and I want to know, as comedians, all three of you, is it as bitchy and catty as a dancer's world can be?
In a different way. I'm not going to answer that, Steph.
You want me to answer it? Okay.
What's your experience?
What's your
experience?
I find it's actually quite supportive amongst comedians.
Yeah. Okay.
No matter where you are. I mean, I've done it in Sweden and Thailand and Melbourne and Sydney. And no matter who you approach in the comedy world, they all tend to be quite supportive. Now, what they say behind your back is a different story.
Yes.
I've got no idea what that is. But to your face, they're quite nice. And
well, your back's pretty big. There's probably a lot.
That's right. A lot of room for the knives. That's right.
So we talked about Thailand. Tell me about Sweden. What was it like doing comedy in Sweden?
Well, they don't like jokes about Volvos. They don't get them. They
don't get it.
Well, they really can't see the
problem.
They can't see the funny
That's
side.
That's right. They think Volvos are actually sporty and good-looking cars, which is why we make so much fun of them, I guess.
Yeah.
So there was that. The other curious thing about Sweden, that they seem to like it when you do make fun of them personally, though. So I was making fun of some
nice
of the...
shirt, idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They would laugh at that. And they were quite horrified at the fact that I joked that I'd gone driving after going to Oktoberfest, and so they... that was a big no-no.
They didn't think that you were joking. They actually thought you
thought I'd gone and climbed behind the wheel of an Audi and gone for a drive after drinking 8 pints.
No sense of humour, the Swedish.
That's right. So,
where haven't you, or where do you aspire to do a gig? Like, what's your favourite sort of aspiration to be?
End of the line. Where are you going to be?
Top
gig. Vegas?
Top gig? Anywhere. I suppose a Melbourne Comedy Fest gala, something like that.
Yeah.
Or Montreal.
Yeah.
One of those gala shows, that would be, I reckon that'd be
You reckon
top
you've
gig.
made it when you get there? You go, yep, I'm out there. I've made it now.
Have you ever gone over to Montreal during that season?
No,
you
I haven't
tackled that one yet?
No,
I've heard that's a tough, like...
It is.
The best
Most
of
of
the
them
best.
are these days.
Yeah.
They've gotten so big, like Melbourne Comedy Festival is up to 500 shows and so on. It's it's
Huge.
right up there.
Any plans for Edinburgh?
Not as yet. I'm hoping to do something in Edinburgh if this festival show that I'm doing next year takes off. So that goes well.
Are you purely stage, or do you want to sort of get TV as well, or?
I've been trying to get into TV, but it's quite difficult, and
they're so small.
Yeah, exactly.
Flat.
Not so large.
Fit inside a flat one.
But so at the moment, I've been working on an idea with Channel 31 to sort of cover some of the open mic comedy rooms around Melbourne.
Yep.
However, the bit of a spanner in the works has been that announcement that community TV will be going off air.
Gone.
So it remains to be seen whether Channel 31 will go for this project. If
they won't have a station, it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if it's a good idea, flog it.
Yeah, it's a good
flog
idea.
it to someone else. Pitch it to somebody else. You're listening to The Elegant Universe. We're going to be back coming up. More Haley Scopes and, of course, our conspiracy theory expert. Welcome back to the show that's run by the Illuminati lizard people.
And everything in between.
Let's go to the Haley Scopes.
Okay, so Taurus. This week, your daughter will buy a French-made costume using your PayPal account. She says it's for Halloween. You cry yourself to sleep for the next fortnight.
No, I've been there, man.
Gemini. This week, you will step outside for 10 minutes to enjoy the sunshine. You receive third degree burns. Never forget sunblock.
Speaking of sunblock, here's a really good segue this week.
Okay.
It's Frankie Hamster's conspiracy theory time.
Hey, sunblock, hey, what are you
We'll
saying?
get your own music.
But I'm that fat, I block out the sun? What are you saying?
No. What we'll do is we're going to get, when we readjust the show and everything, we'll get Frankie's own theme music.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, something played with a, what are those things called?
Moog synthesizer.
Theremin.
Oh, theremin, yeah.
Yes, we'll get a theremin in the studio, you know. But anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, this week I want to talk about a gentleman by the name of David Icke. Now, if you're not familiar with David Icke, he is the person that came up with the conspiracy theory concerning the reptilians, or the lizard people, as we affectionately call them.
Okay.
Gina Reinhardt being the biggest of them all. Now, I just wanted to talk about David for a little bit because he's a very interesting character. This man used to be a professional footballer, ladies and gentlemen, in England. He played for Coventry City and Hereford United. But back in the early 90s, he decided to have some Reiki done, or went and saw a spiritual healer who said to him that he had been placed upon this earth to save us all from oblivion, and would reveal to him over time some secrets of the universe which he has been slowly feeding to us. Now, what's interesting about this guy, he used to be a member of the Greens Party in England, and he resigned. Now, this is so hilarious. He resigned the Greens Party in 1991, stating that his Kundalini, and when I say Kundalini, we're not talking about a character from Mad Max, but his chakras had achieved a higher level of consciousness. And so he had this at a Greens Party meeting in 91. He resigned from the party, telling them that he was about to be at the centre of a tremendous and increasing controversy, and winning a standing ovation from them, left the room after this announcement. Now, this tremendous and increasing controversy is, of course, the lizard people who come from the constellation Draco.
Yeah.
Now, it's all, very spurious, but I'll just like to read you a quote from the man himself.
Right.
Okay.
Now, he said this: "When you survey the world today, when a child dies in this world of preventable disease every 2 seconds, when the economic system of this world must destroy the earth simply for that system to survive, when all you see is war and famine and pain, and when you see all this suffering, you have to ask yourself, is it a force of love and wisdom and tolerance that is in control of this planet?" Now, that statement was made by David Icke 24 years ago on the BBC.
Yeah.
Now, you make that statement today and you might think, yeah, he's got something there. But, of course, 25 years ago, he was just considered a loon. And when he said this, it was like a media crucifixion. And he went on to say, after saying this on, I think it was the David Woden program, or Terry Wogan.
Yeah, Terry Wogan.
Terry Wogan, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He said this statement and was roundly criticised by the media. It was so bad for him, his kids couldn't even walk down the street without people pointing their fingers saying, "Hey, your dad's a nutter."
Yep.
Right? Now, he then released this statement in 2001, 10 years after the interview, and said, "Look, it was one of my greatest fears as a child was being ridiculed in public. And now it's coming true. As a television presenter, because he used to be a football commentator, I'd been respected. Now people are coming up to me in the street, shaking my hand in a respectful way, then saying, 'You're a nutter, David Icke.' Now, this happens to me every time I walk down a street in Britain. It's a nightmare. My children are devastated because their dad is a figure of ridicule."
There's more to this story, though, because that wasn't the only thing he said. He said on that show, too, that the Queen is actually a lizard, and in some future time, she's going to split her head open and her true lizard self would come.
Yeah.
I'll just correct you there.
Right.
It wasn't the Queen that he said was a lizard, but he did say, and I quote, "The Queen Mother is seriously reptilian."
Yeah.
And, I
Same
think,
difference.
Seriously reptilian.
he may have been onto something there.
Sounds like young hipster speak. Like, you know how we say, like, things are really sick. Hey, dude, you're looking seriously reptilian today.
Yeah.
But you may ask why I'm discussing this and where the conspiracy lies.
Okay,
Well, this guy lately has been selling out halls and stadiums and generating crowds of up to 6,000 and 10,000 people paying big money to listen to his crazy ideas. Maybe the conspiracy is just that he's came up with conspiracy theories in order to sell tickets to conspiracy theory nuts like me.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. When I start talking about my crazy ideas, I don't fill stadiums. I empty stadiums.
But I mean, he's got some really crazy ideas. He believes in reincarnation, that possible worlds exist alongside ours in other frequencies. We're not talking about alternate universes, but alternate vibrations, and that we've acquired our current characteristics as human by having our DNA spliced with downloaded software.
Wow.
Now, I mean, you know, if anyone can see me, maybe my DNA's been spliced with Sonic the Hedgehog. But where he's come up with that, I've got no idea. But you know, really,
well, he channels most of his information, or he goes to channelers, and they just tell him stuff, and he just puts it into a sellable format. He's written like 18 books or something.
Exactly,
as well.
And I mean, sorry.
So the thing about it is, if that's true, then that means heaps of conspiracy theorists would be selling their ideas.
Well, they are.
You know, to make money. And that's just ludicrous, because surely they wouldn't all be doing it, would they?
And they can't all be right, because half of them contradict the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. And I mean, with coming up with this conspiracy of the lizard people, he's drawn into it all of my favourite people and families, people like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they're all lizards. Okay, the House of Windsor are lizards. The Illuminati Round Table, the Council on Foreign Relations, Chatham House, blah, 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 blah. But he lost to me when he accused Bob Hope of being a lizard person. I mean,
because he was what was it, the Rhodes Scholar?
Yeah, well,
and anyone who's a Rhodes Scholar must be a lizard people. I can see what he's done.
You're talking
here.
about the Prime Minister of Australia at one point,
Yeah.
How can a lizard guy chug a beer at a cricket match?
Yeah, and give everyone the day off.
He's really good at that.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? He just chugs like.
Are we talking about our current Prime Minister?
No, Bob Hawke.
Oh, Bob Hawke.
Bob Hawke. Yeah.
Exactly. What he's done is he's gotten all the other conspiracy theories, knitted them together, and put this umbrella of lizard people over it.
Yeah.
Same with the Anunnaki is another umbrella one. There's the Freemasons is an umbrella one.
Yep.
He's playing the same line. He's just changing the word to lizard people from Dimension X.
Okay, well, I'll be the devil's advocate then.
Okay.
Shane. How do you explain then, Shane, the footage of people blinking their eyes and
having
their eyes looking reptilian?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yes, I know.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Video phasing. Let's go to a Haley scope or two.
Okay, so Cancer. This week, you will see that girl you've always liked picking her nose. You don't know if you're disgusted or turned on. Gross. Leo. This week, you will drop a pot of boiling water on your child. Now, how will you cook your instant noodles?
Oh, dear.
No, you're not going to do that intentionally, are you, Shane?
No.
Not intentionally.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the show that's run by the Illuminati lizard people.
And everything in between.
Let's go to the Haley scopes.
Okay, so Taurus. This week, your daughter will buy a French-made costume using your PayPal account. She says it's for Halloween. You cry yourself to sleep for the next fortnight.
No, I've been there, man.
Gemini. This week, you will step outside for 10 minutes to enjoy the sunshine. You receive third degree burns. Never forget sunblock.
Speaking of sunblock, here's a really good segue this week.
Okay.
It's Frankie Hamps's conspiracy theory time.
Yay, sunblock, hey? What are you
We'll
saying?
get your own music.
But I'm that fat, I block out the sun? What are you saying?
No. What we'll do is we're going to get, when we readjust the show and everything, we'll get Frankie his own theme music.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, something played with a, what are those things called?
Moog synthesizer.
Theremin.
Oh, theremin, yeah.
Yes, we'll get a theremin in the studio, you know. But anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, this week I want to talk about a gentleman by the name of David Icke. Now, if you're not familiar with David Icke, he is the person that came up with the conspiracy theory concerning the reptilians, or the lizard people, as we affectionately call them.
Okay.
Gina Reinhardt being the biggest of them all. Now, I just wanted to talk about David for a little bit because he's a very interesting character. This man used to be a professional footballer, ladies and gentlemen, in England. He played for Coventry City and Hereford United. But back in the early 90s, he decided to have some Reiki done, or went and saw a spiritual healer who said to him that he had been placed upon this earth to save us all from oblivion, and would reveal to him over time some secrets of the universe which he has been slowly feeding to us. Now, what's interesting about this guy, he used to be a member of the Greens Party in England, and he resigned. Now, this is so hilarious. He resigned the Greens Party in 1991, stating that his Kundalini, and when I say Kundalini, we're not talking about a character from Mad Max, but his chakras had achieved a higher level of consciousness. And so he had this at a Greens Party meeting in 91. He resigned from the party, telling them that he was about to be at the centre of a tremendous and increasing controversy, and winning a standing ovation from them, left the room after this announcement. Now, this tremendous and increasing controversy is, of course, the lizard people who come from the constellation Draco.
Yeah.
Now, it's all, very spurious, but I'll just like to read you a quote from the man himself.
Right.
Okay.
Now, he said this: "When you survey the world today, when a child dies in this world of preventable disease every 2 seconds, when the economic system of this world must destroy the earth simply for that system to survive, when all you see is war and famine and pain, and when you see all this suffering, you have to ask yourself, is it a force of love and wisdom and tolerance that is in control of this planet?" Now, that statement was made by David Icke 24 years ago on the BBC.
Mhm.
Now, you make that statement today and you might think, yeah, he's got something there. But, of course, 25 years ago, he was just considered a loon. And when he said this, it was like a media crucifixion. And he went on to say, after saying this on, I think it was the David Woden program, or Terry Wogan.
Yeah, Terry Wogan.
Terry Wogan, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He said this statement and was roundly criticised by the media. It was so bad for him, his kids couldn't even walk down the street without people pointing their fingers saying, hey, your dad's a nutter.
Yep.
Right? Now, he then released this statement in 2001, 10 years after the interview, and said, look, it was one of my greatest fears as a child was being ridiculed in public. And now it's coming true. As a television presenter, because he used to be a football commentator, I'd been respected. Now people are coming up to me in the street, shaking my hand in a respectful way, then saying, you're a nutter, David Icke. Now, this happens to me every time I walk down a street in Britain. It's a nightmare. My children are devastated because their dad is a figure of ridicule.
There's more to this story, though, because that wasn't the only thing he said. He said on that show, too, that the Queen is actually a lizard, and in some future time, she's going to split her head open and her true lizard self would come.
Yeah. I'll just correct you there. Right. It wasn't the Queen that he said was a lizard, but he did say, and I quote, the Queen Mother is seriously reptilian.
Yeah.
And,
same difference.
He may have been onto something
Sounds
there.
like young hipster speak. Like, you know how we say, like, things are really sick. Hey, dude, you're looking seriously reptilian today.
Yeah.
But you may ask why I'm discussing this and where the conspiracy lies.
Okay,
Well, this guy lately has been selling out halls and stadiums and generating crowds of up to 6,000 and 10,000 people paying big money to listen to his crazy ideas. Maybe the conspiracy is just that he's came up with conspiracy theories in order to sell tickets to conspiracy theory nuts like me.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
That's crazy. When I start talking about my crazy ideas, I don't fill stadiums. I empty stadiums.
But I mean, he's got some really crazy ideas. He believes in reincarnation, that possible worlds exist alongside ours in other frequencies. We're not talking about alternate universes, but alternate vibrations, and that we've acquired our current characteristics as human by having our DNA spliced with downloaded software.
Wow.
Now, I mean, if anyone can see me, maybe my DNA's been spliced with Sonic the Hedgehog. But, where he's come up with that, I've got no idea. But, really...
Well, he channels most of his information, or he goes to channelers and they just tell him stuff and he just puts it into a sellable format. He's written like 18 books or something
Exactly.
as well.
And I mean... sorry. Go ahead.
The thing about it is, if that's true then, that means... heaps of conspiracy theorists would be selling their ideas.
Well, they are.
To make money. And that's just ludicrous because surely they wouldn't all be doing it, would they?
And they can't all be right because half of them contradict the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. And I mean, he with coming up with this conspiracy of the lizard people, he's drawn into it all of my favourite people in families, people like the Rockefellers,
Yeah.
the Rothschilds, they're all lizards. Okay, the House of Windsor are lizards.
Yeah.
The Illuminati Round Table, the Council on Foreign Relations, Chatham House, blah, 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 blah. But he lost to me when he accused Bob Hope of being a lizard person. I mean,
because
really.
he was what was it, the Rhodes Scholar?
Yeah, well,
And anyone who's a Rhodes Scholar must be a lizard people. I can see what he's
You're
done
talking
here.
about the Prime Minister of Australia
Former,
at one point,
yeah.
yeah? How can a lizard guy chug a beer at a cricket match?
Yeah, and give
'Cause
everyone the day off.
he's really good at that.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No,
He just chugs like. He
Are we
gets his-
talking about our current Prime Minister?
No,
or
no,
the former?
Bob Hawke.
Oh, Bob Hawke.
Bob
Yeah.
Hawke,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
What he's done is he's gotten all the other conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
knitted them together, and put this umbrella of lizard people over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the Anunnaki is another umbrella one. There's the Freemasons is an umbrella one.
Yep.
He's playing the same line. He's
Yeah.
just changing the word to lizard people from Dimension X.
Okay, well, I'll be the devil's advocate then.
Okay.
Shane. How do you explain then, Shane, the
Yeah.
footage of people blinking their eyes and,
having-
their eyes looking
yeah.
reptilian?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yes, I know. I know.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Video phasing. Let's go to a Haley scope or two.
Okay. So, Cancer. This week, you will see that girl you've always liked picking her nose. You don't know if you're disgusted or turned on. Gross. Leo. This week, you will drop a pot of boiling water on your child. Now, how will you cook your instant noodles?
Oh dear.
No, you're not going to do that intentionally, are you, Shane?
No.
Not intentionally.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the show that has got its own dinosaur.
Yes.
We
Yes,
have,
we do.
although he fell down.
Yeah.
Remember
Which
that
one?
the one at the front,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
wind came and blew him. He's
Was
like
that the
half
pterodactyl or
No, the
T-Rex?
pterodactyl's fine because he's like we put him in a wind tunnel.
See, people
So-
are like, what the hell are
Yeah,
you
we
doing?
have.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on.
Yeah, we
You
have
got your
our
own
own
pterodactyl.
Yeah. When long story, I'll give you the bullet points.
Yeah.
When I first moved into Box Hill, the only house I could get really cheap was because it had a huge dinosaur in the front yard.
Yeah.
The previous owner had been a paleontologist or I don't
Or
know.
something.
And,
Yeah.
a huge pterodactyl on the roof, and everyone's like, we're not renting that. And I'm going, that's my house. I'm
still
moving in.
You don't need a house number. You just
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
tell people,
Yeah.
dinosaur
Look for
house.
the dinosaur.
Yeah, look for
I'm
the
still waiting
dinosaur.
for the photos. You were going to take photos
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, yeah.
You guys don't like taking photos unless they're selfies
Well,
with dead people.
You
Yeah.
know, there's...
Yeah,
They're
passed me.
dinosaurs,
Have you,
technically,
ever,
aren't they?
have you ever Googled me? There are thousands of photographs.
Okay.
You probably don't need any more.
I just didn't think we were at that point where we were going to Google each other, Shane.
That's hilarious. That's funny as.
Yeah.
Anyway, top
Yeah.
10 worst kids TV characters.
Yeah.
Just,
Speaking
moving
of-
on. I can feel myself going red. Shall I continue?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do that.
Go
you do
for
that.
it.
Yeah, go.
Bookaboo. Do you know Bookaboo?
Not
He's
heard
a
of that one.
drumming dog.
By the way, Stef
I-
Jaric's back in the studio with
Yeah.
us.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
taking
Hi,
up 4 chairs.
Oh,
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Bookaboo's a drumming dog, and apparently he won't do a
A what?
gig.
A
He's a drumming dog.
Yeah.
Or is he? He's a dog that drums.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that better?
Either either.
Either
Yeah.
either. And apparently he doesn't do a gig unless somebody reads him a story first.
Yes, I have seen that.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
here's my question.
He's a diva.
He is
Right.
a diva.
Yeah.
Here's my
He has to be.
question to you three.
He's a
Right.
story
I want
dependent canine.
stories. Why? What is
He
it?
runs on stories as opposed to
Yes.
Yeah.
treats and things.
What is it that you won't go on stage until you've had
Oh,
a bottle of Jack?
well,
Apparently,
a portion of a bottle of Jack. Try not to have the whole bottle.
Shane. What?
Nothing. I go through this whole nervous breakdown thing where get out of my way, leave me alone, let me get into my space. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't do the whole M&M things and bottle of Jack or whatever. I can't go on. I can't use alcohol at all before I go on.
But don't you want to
No.
use your fame to make someone sort out all the blue Smarties?
I could. That's
know.
that's his job. That's what he does.
Or,
Yeah,
or
my
all the
job.
phallic-looking sultanas from the pack, you know what I mean? You could just go on and on.
That's good.
It's probably psychological because I know when I used to do shows especially on ships, it was just more routine, I think. And if I hadn't had a Red Bull and a cigarette,
there you go.
I would
Red
have
Bull.
a bad show.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was psychological, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, no, I've got
I think it's about getting your energy up too, because if you go in with really low energy, you tend to maintain that the whole time, and you die if you. You know.
You've just reminded me, Red Bull before I go on every time.
And from my experience, don't drink too much or it becomes a therapy session, not a show. My dad did that. Do you know what it's like? And the audience get really uncomfortable.
I'm no good. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm just a little farm boy. What am I doing up here?
Now, how would we have gone if we'd actually had a story read to us? Do you reckon we would have done better?
On the
Depends what
drums.
the story is.
Right. So what are they reading to this dog?
50 Shades.
Woof, 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 woof. Probably. I don't know what they're reading to him. I don't actually know the cartoon or the
It's about
show.
like because I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's about the TV show trying to slip in a story in between.
Right,
It's like
okay.
another segment
So it's a
within
con.
the. That's the only reason he truly needs it.
They're just
so-
really teaching
Scamming
kids
children. They should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
to be divas, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9 of the top 10 worst kids TV characters.
Mm-hmm.
The entire
Mm.
In the Night Garden.
Yeah.
That's a great show. I
Is
don't know
it?
what people
No.
are tripping about.
What is the point?
Yeah.
It's worse than Teletubbies. I mean,
is.
what is the
But
point?
it's great.
In the Night Garden sounds like a porno.
In the Night Garden is just so random.
Yeah,
You got and no one has a real name. It's all Bombly Boos and the
and there's a
Skizwangers and
airship that floats around
and there's no point to it
and there's
whatsoever.
like bowling pins that have families and there's a red one and,
And
a
then
blue
there's
one
these huge things that live in the forest, like huge, and they just like sort of float there. They don't,
Yeah,
and
they do
everything
nothing.
says its own name. So if you've got
Just in case you forget.
just like
Pokemon there.
the main character is like a girl character. You couldn't. I don't even know if you could call it a girl. And she says her name, and she goes around, and she just like talks.
It's a surreal dreamscape
Yeah,
show.
that's
At
exactly
the
what it
beginning,
is.
the main character falls asleep and
in a
then,
boat.
and
Okay.
then the show
And then
happens.
the show
What are they
happens.
saying about it?
Well,
Why,
the critic claims its only purpose is to get stoned uni students really, really spaced out.
Well, it would. It would
It
do
would,
that.
it
If
would,
you went
yeah,
into
it would definitely do
That's what I
that.
used to watch Monkey Magic for.
Yeah.
Oh,
how
Monkey
good was that?
Magic.
It was the best.
Nail
Monkey
on the head.
Magic.
Guess what I
Yeah.
did last night?
Watch
What?
Monkey Magic.
Monkey Magic.
Did ya?
Yeah, it was the one where Pigsy falls in love with the widow, but the widow falls in love with Tripitaka.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you want him for? He's just a priest. He'll want to do it for you, but I can, you know.
Has it ever been
I'm very
confirmed
handsome.
if it was a boy or a girl? Monkey?
It was meant to be.
The character is.
Are you talking the priest? Or
Yeah,
you
like
talking-
the
Yeah.
main.
It's played by a
character.
woman. It's a Japanese show, a Chinese story made by a Korean company starring Korean and Chinese actors. The main character
Dubbed
is
in English.
Is
yeah,
a
dubbed in
female.
English.
Who's
He's a female
meant to be
playing a
male.
guy.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
so-
we were meant to see him as a guy. Her
Yes.
as a guy.
A
Okay.
very feminine guy.
And there was one episode where they revealed that the real character, as she looks when she's not dressed up as guy, and she is drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if I was at a transsexual bar, even I, with my problem with that, I'd be like, yeah.
See,
you're
I
a girl.
remember those days. Like I used to love
Yeah, yeah.
afternoon TV. It was
Yep.
like the goodies into Doctor Who, into Monkey Magic or something. It was
Yeah.
like, they were great.
But they've still
afternoons.
got that. It's just different shows now.
And
Yeah.
you've got to download them all.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can still watch them anyway.
Okay, so this is the last one on the list.
Go
Number
on.
10.
Here
Potatoes.
What?
Potatoes.
It's called Potatoes, and it's just a singing bunch of singing vegetables that wear nappies.
Oh yeah, I know that show.
I don't know this show.
It's really
Are you-
dumb.
are you
Why would
for
veggies
real?
need nappies?
I don't know.
Are you for real?
Why does
There's
Donald
a show.
Duck need a towel?
Hang on, this is fair dinkum. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
show
yeah.
called Potatoes.
But even
Yeah.
Donald Duck doesn't wear any pants. And yeah.
Yes, he wears a vest, doesn't he? Potatoes.
a sailor's
I've
t-shirt.
seen it.
He wears a
Seen
sailor's
it. That's
t-shirt.
So
Yeah, it's-
so that's
it's
one of the
pretty
top
random.
10 worst TV characters for kids.
Potatoes.
Yep.
That's a pretty good list in terms of worst.
And that's about all off my list.
That you've heard it here first. The top 10 list of worst kids.
TV kids.
You know the
characters.
worst
TV
kid show
shows.
that I reckon? I went back and watched it. I used to love it as a kid, but I went back and watched it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Gumby.
Gumby.
I don't understand why I watched that.
No, Gumby's fine.
No way.
I
Gumby's
don't
fine.
remember
No way.
Gumby.
For me, it was a live action show that I used to love as a kid.
Yeah.
I went back. I went to JB and I bought the DVD
Yep.
set and all the rest. Within 3 seconds, I'm going, what?
Yeah.
How did it was Gilligan's Island? Remember, it was a great show when you were a kid,
Yeah.
and watching it now, I'm just going, what is the point? Why are they doing this?
They're only 20 minutes away from rescue.
Yeah, and
And
it
the
was-
hole's about the size of your fist or something like that.
Yeah, they couldn't fix it. The professor could make a nuclear reactor out of 2 coconuts,
But he
can't
couldn't
fix
fix
a hole
the
in the
hole
boat.
No.
Yeah, it was dumb as.
Can I just say, sorry, I just cut you
Go
all
on.
off. But just after the break, I've got a very special story just for you, Shane.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so
Waiting
let's go
for
to a
that.
break. When we come back, more.
Welcome to the only show that walks up to the door of the unexplained and realises we've left our keys in the other pants.
Mm-hmm.
So, Haley Scopes.
Yes, Virgo. This week you will bake a cake for your friend's birthday. You will lose one of your acrylic nails in the batter. Oh well.
Oh, well.
Libra.
Yeah, go on.
Libra,
the
this
irony.
week you will get pooped on by a bat flying overhead and develop a strange rash. Leprosy, herpes, bat pox. Better get that checked out.
Giant
Bat
bats.
Yeah.
We did a segment ages ago about zombie bats,
Yeah.
believe it or not. There's actually like a rabies-type zombie virus in the bats in Nunawading.
Yeah,
Ooh.
So that's
right.
for real. Like, you
Rabies.
get infected, you wouldn't know for about 2 months, and then you just go on this whole homicidal thing. Rabies.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
your
yeah.
brain sort of collapses. But
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Cujo?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
back
Cujo.
in the
Cujo.
back in
What's
the
that?
80s,
He got rabies,
giant
right?
dog got bit by a bat. I read the book.
Was
for
that scary?
No.
you
no,
read every book under the
Stephen
sun.
Stephen King kept writing the same story over. How many times can a car get demonically possessed and then take over a town?
I only
Or
thought that was in
And in
Futurama.
a bulldozer. No, that was a rip-off of a Stephen King story.
No,
Hmm.
really?
How
See,
many
nothing's
small
new.
American towns can be possessed by alien ghosts from what? Anyway,
Anyway.
yeah, no, the book
Speaking-
wasn't scary at all.
Right.
Speaking of viruses, I
Yeah.
have news.
Yes.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you all heard, but
Mhm.
U2 released a new album last week.
Oh, another
Did
one.
we?
Okay.
What,
Oh,
us two?
thanks,
We
you know,
didn't
yeah.
release an album.
No,
Yeah, we'd like to take credit, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
You mean the band?
the band
Yeah, yeah.
U2 released another album called Songs of Innocence.
Okay.
Right.
And the reason I'm talking about this is because they did it in a very special way.
Yep.
Okay, so last week there was a big conference,
Mm-hmm.
and Bono, the singer, of course, magically touched fingers with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple.
Okay.
Okay, and with this touch of fingers, which was
Yeah.
incredibly awkward, suddenly the album was uploaded onto 500 million Apple accounts.
What?
I am telling you now, if you look
What?
at your iPhone
Yeah.
or if you look at your iPad or your iTunes account,
Yeah.
the U2 album will be on there. It is free. I've checked my iPad. My dad checked his iPhone. Everyone's
It's
As
Apple
free.
accounts
As in what? In
free.
What?
So if I went onto my iTunes, you're
Yes.
saying that
That
will
album will
in
be on
my-
there.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
All you
Alright.
have to do
We'll
is like
test that.
properly download it, but it's as if you've already purchased it.
Really?
This actually reminds me of an idea I come up with. You know how piracy is such a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And they can't get people to stop downloading movies and music and all this, right?
It
Is
is.
Is
there?
it?
Oh my gosh, it really is.
Is it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do it, listener. Go to your phone now.
I
Yeah,
know how you
iTunes.
can stop it.
Okay, how can you stop it?
What you do is you start releasing everything for free on like the Apple's thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And what you do is you do it for such a period of time where you're making your money from advertising for that period of time, where everyone's joined up to it, where there's no longer any need to download anything or anything like that, right? And then what you do is you put in place the safeguards so people can't download. Bang, you've got everyone. Because then you can start charging, and what are they
Evil
going to do?
master
You can't
plan.
download anymore because they no longer exist.
Mm. Well, the funny thing is, they thought they were genius in
Yeah.
doing this because, I mean, they've already released 13 albums or whatever. They don't need the money from
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
But it's been less than a week since, and there are complaints all over the internet. People are saying they've reduced music to a level of spam. Somebody compared it to waking up with herpes, which is kind of how I felt when I looked at my iPad, and I'm like, you too?
Yeah, because you're probably not a fan of this.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
I'm not
and
really a fan of theirs either, but
yeah, and so it's been less than a week, and already Apple have had to put a special page up on the internet with instructions of how to remove the album from your library.
Well, they don't know how to do that. Why you want?
So
why you got an
these
Apple
divas
phone?
thought everyone would be happy that they'd
Yes.
uploaded to and taken up space
They
on
thought
everyone's
they were
phone.
gifting the world.
If
Yeah.
somebody came up to you and gave you a $30 CD for free,
But
You'd
it's
take
not
it.
for free because it's telling me that additional charges will be made.
for
Yeah.
what?
Well, I just tried to download one of the songs, so because
Right,
it's through
yeah.
my
Maybe it's
music,
for the
Don't do
internet,
it.
but
yeah.
Don't do it.
it's like they're all singular in there. They're
Yeah.
not. It's not the album. Do you know what I
maybe
mean?
there's a
Mm.
bit
So
of
it is
a-
charging
yeah,
me.
Maybe
Yeah.
there
It's
is.
a scam.
Check it out.
Speaking of scams, you've got some news.
Well, I
Susie.
came across something, Shane, and I
Yep.
thought of you. Like you came into my mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is from the bottom of my heart.
Okay.
Yeah, the very bottom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go on.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'd like to share it with you.
Okay.
Seniors card savings.
Oh, for crying out loud.
It's your lucky day.
That's
Now
so
wait,
funny.
now wait, Shane. No, don't
Yeah, don't get upset about
No,
it.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. Go on. Go on.
I'm so glad I'm sitting over the other side of the studio. Okay, have you ever wanted to cruise through your life?
Shane?
Shane? Yes, maybe even.
He's really so
Yeah,
relaxed.
go on.
Have you ever dreamed of it? Well, you could get discounts for weekend away on the
Ooh.
Murray River or
That
a
sounds
week
nice.
around Australia. Discounts,
You know,
discounts,
I've
Shane.
already done that, and
And you got paid for it?
pretty
Fishing
much.
for
Yeah.
free. Fishing for free.
I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you
what?
know,
Fishing
Who
around
are they kidding?
Victoria without a license.
another scam. Another scam.
Surely they're offering golf as well, the national sport of old people.
No.
No?
No. But days at the museum at concession prices, Shane.
Yeah, did that
Shane,
last week.
ooh.
And wait, there's two more to come.
Okay.
Go on.
Real estate fees reduced, discount fees, commissions, and rental services.
Oh, you hear
Yeah.
that?
But here's
cool.
the best one,
Yeah,
the
the best
cream
one.
of the crop
Yeah.
that
Go
really
on.
drew it for me.
Yep.
Quit smoking on the cheap.
On the cheap.
Okay. Yep. Are
And
they
there's
offering
also one
discount-
she's missing.
Yeah.
Where is this really nice place, right? You go into, and there's people that look after you, and you get to spend
Yeah.
all your free time doing whatever you want.
Yeah,
You get to
watching
hang out
TV,
with
But if you
friends.
try
back
and leave,
forth.
if you try and leave though,
There'll be consequences.
We were talking about that
Yeah, we
before.
were.
Peter was like, I'd be like, if they ever do stick me in an old folks' home,
Yep.
go somewhere else to look for me because I won't be there. I'll be somewhere. I will have escaped. I'll be wandering around the streets. You're listening to the Elegant Universe with a bunch of senior citizens. We'll be back after this. Beyond this dimension and out of the toy box under your bed, it's the Elegant Universe. Haley Scopes.
Yes, so Scorpio, this week you will receive an email from a Nigerian prince. Finally, a hit on your dating profile.
that's hilarious.
Sagittarius, this week you are fated to lose your phone. No matter how hard you try to keep it, now that you know about it, you will be back to your spare Nokia by the end of the week.
Speaking of which, you know how you were saying, gag. I know you were only joking, senior citizens and all that sort of
Yes,
stuff.
joking.
I'm
Yeah,
actually doing
joking.
okay. There's a whole website of Russian women apparently who think I'm quite nice.
And they live in your local area.
No, they all live in Russia, but it seems like every time I go to my junk box on my email, there's young Asian women,
Yeah.
Russian women.
They're just all over the place.
Yeah, want me.
You
Want
definitely
me.
still have it.
Yes,
Yeah, still got it
definitely.
going on. Still got-
That white hair is not for everyone, but it is for some.
Speaking of which, no one's mentioned my haircut today. Not a
Oh,
word.
It
Oh,
was-
okay, no, forget it.
I didn't know.
Forget it.
No, it's higher. It's definitely higher. Did you have
What?
it
No, I had
blow
it lowered.
weight?
I had it
Is
lowered.
it thinner, maybe?
Did you have a colour?
Receive
Did you have the
Susie
roots done?
J's Way, a regular feature of the show.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this one's a little bit sentimental.
All right.
Okay, so just go with me.
All right.
All right.
So there are times in your life where I guess you put yourself first, and if someone calls and they need you, you're just like, yeah, I'm coming, or
When
you
I'm
don't.
ready.
You don't
Yeah.
go. And Susie J's Way this week, it was to be there for people. Was to be there. Oh, don't get a tear in your eye.
Yeah,
There's nothing funny about this in case you're looking for a
Okay.
punchline.
Yeah.
But and I'm just saying that sometimes when people ring, if you listen to their tone of their voice or what have you, maybe you just drop everything and go. And that's Susie
Yeah.
J's Way.
You even drop your
Yeah.
bottle of wine for them?
I did. No, I took both glasses.
Okay, so how are we going to take a photograph of this?
What
Is
would
it
you drop to help somebody else?
Oh, so it doesn't have to be a photograph. It can be a.
Well,
What's
it
the
could be.
biggest thing you've dropped?
Yeah, well, I guess I did put my coffee aside, so I'll take a photo of my coffee.
Yeah, come on, you can do better than that, listener.
That's
You can tell us about the time you were going to go on a cruise, had it all paid for, airfare was paid for, and a friend rang and needed your help, and you cancelled your world tour.
Well, you had seniors discount anyway,
Well, you
so I
had
guess it wasn't so
seniors
bad.
discount anyway, so, yeah. Or the time that you were headed out for a comedy gig, like our guest tonight, and your ex-wife rang and said, I really need your help. So you dropped everything. You didn't do that gig, and it turned out to be the gig that could have got you on television, but you helped your friend instead.
You did the right thing.
You did the right thing. That's what we want to hear. Susie J's way. Horoscopes.
Okay, so this is the last horoscope for this week. Capricorn. This week you will confuse your bug spray with your deodorant. At least the spiders will smell nice as they slowly kill you.
We'll be back after this to say goodbye to everyone. Our special guest, Stef Jaric. Frankie, who's a regular on the show, we never say goodbye to him. He keeps coming back. We put him in a bag in a river. He gets out. We'll be back after this. Searching for Atlantis. Look in the sock drawer where all those missing pens are. It's the elegant universe. We'd like to thank our special guest that we had on the show tonight, Stef Jaric, comedian.
Thanks very much for having me. It was quite a pleasure coming on.
When's your next gig? When can we go and see you live?
I'll be live next Wednesday.
Not that we present him dead.
At Station 59, an excellent free comedy venue and pub there on Church Street in Richmond, just next to a fire
Excellent.
station.
Looking forward to that. We'll all be there. Also, our regular conspiracy theory expert, Frankie Hamsters.
Well, thanks very much for having me again, team. You can see me at Sugarlast next Tuesday night and again in the city on Thursday, October the 2nd. I'm doing a gig with Dave O'Neill. Go to my website, www.frankhamster.com.
Who gave him that amount of time?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was you, wasn't it?
I'm a hog, just a publicity hog.
Yeah, you're a real attention diva. We've also got Susie J.
Cheerio, have a good week.
Hayley.
Adios.
And, of course, the host with the most, Peter.
Thank you.
On behalf of myself and our little crew, I will ask you to do two very important things for us. Listener, be kind to small animals, stay healthy, and dream great dreams.
Catch.